Okay, so for more on this, Congressman Andy Biggs joined us, a member of the House Judiciary Committee. Thank you very much, Congressman, for talking to us. So the president says he's willing to send in the military to our southern border if necessary. He's even threatened to seal the U.S.-Mexico border. Can he do it?
Yeah, I think he has the authority to do it. I think it's something that we don't want to see happen necessarily, but I think that kind of tough rhetoric has spawned this cooperating attitude from Mexico, and I think that's a great thing, actually.
Here's the president in Montana at a rally last night. Got a huge round of applause multiple times last night, especially when he blamed the Democrats for the caravan. Listen.
I'm willing to send the military to defend our southern border if necessary. All caused because of the illegal immigration onslaught brought by the Democrats because they refuse to acknowledge or to change the laws. They like it. They also figure everybody coming in is going to vote Democrat. You know. Hey, they're not so stupid when you think about it, right? But they are crazy.
Okay, so where do Democrats stand on stopping this caravan? If Nancy Pelosi had her way and she took control of the Senate, most likely not the case. She says she wants to make immigration reform a top, the House rather, that they would make this a top priority. Where do the Democrats stand on stopping the caravan? If they were in control, would they even try to stop the caravan?
No, absolutely not. I mean, they've made it very clear. I think Nancy Pelosi's made it clear yesterday, no wall, no border security, open borders. They've talked about eliminating ICE. So they're not going to have a real heartburn, I wouldn't guess, with 4,000 people in a caravan coming over at one time. And I think they'd be perfectly comfortable with that. And that's going to that would change this country. And I just don't think it's a good thing for the Democrats to get control of the immigration laws. We need to get them back.
I don't know if your Twitter handle's blowing up, but the president tweeted about you earlier. Did you know?
Yeah, I just found out about that, yeah.
Okay, and well, here's his tweet. Congressman Andy Biggs is doing a great job for Arizona and our country. Not a bad endorsement. The president holding a rally in Arizona tonight. What are the people of Arizona looking for? What do they want to see on immigration especially?
Well, they want to see the border wall go up. They want to see the border sealed off. I was just at the border last week, and I just tell you, we have got a real problem. The border's porous. They want to see more agents. We have stations with half the complement of agents they're supposed to have. And they want to see, they view this as a national security issue as much as anything else, and they want the president, and they want Congress, too, to give the president what he needs to enact these laws.
All right, I want to switch gears. Rod Rosenstein, the GOP's been dying to talk to him about potentially talking and planning on wiretapping and invoking the 25th Amendment second week on the job. He's finally going to talk to the House Judiciary Committee next week. Let's listen to Congressman John Ratcliffe. He was on earlier in our program on whether Rosenstein should be fired, and then I want your reaction.
Whatever explanation Rod Rosenstein gave President Trump on Air Force One last week satisfied the president, at least for now. I think Rod Rosenstein should have that same opportunity with members of Congress, and he'll get that next week.
Did it satisfy the president, or is the president playing his cards right?
I think he's playing his cards right. I don't know what the president thought. I just am really concerned with Rod Rosenstein. Even if he was saying this in jest, it shows a distinct lack of judgment, and I wonder if we can really trust him. And I'm actually hoping that we make this a more open deposition where Rosenstein's sworn in, we have a transcript, and we actually get to ask questions rather than hiding it behind closed doors at his behest.
Yeah, there were calls to have him fired. There were calls that he would be fired. Is he going to last on the job? What's the president waiting for exactly?
Well, I think the president is looking for, he has to have a replacement ready. He has to go through this thing. He also is trying to give Rosenstein some room. I don't know what the president's going for because I haven't talked to him about it. I know that I believe a year ago Rosenstein should never have been in this place because he's got tremendous conflicts of interest.
Okay, so then what happens to the Mueller investigation? Let's say, for example, if Rosenstein goes.
Well, the Mueller investigation continues, and you would have the Attorney General's office would still have oversight over the Mueller. Well, they haven't really exercised it too much, but it would still continue, actually.
All right, Congressman Andy Biggs, is there any time that investigation is not going to continue? Is that ever going to end? I'm just curious. Wishful thinking.
Yeah, me too. I hope it ends soon. I keep hearing it's going to end soon.
All right, Congressman, great to see you.